welcome to the Start Today podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cavallini. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. If this is, in fact, your first time listening, welcome. It really means a lot to us. You know, we understand and recognize that there's a lot of other podcasts out there. There's a lot of other personal development outlets that you can be spending your time and investing your energy into. And it really just means so much to us that you've decided to be here with us. So from the bottom of my heart, guys, thank you. The support means everything. And, you know, it's still kind of surreal to see what's happening with the podcast. You know, some of the reviews that, you know, you guys are leaving, just that validation, that feedback, just understand that it does not go unrecognized. It means a lot. It basically, you know, validates what we're doing here and allows us to continue pushing on to do more and to bring you the best content that we possibly can. For those of you who this is in fact your first time listening, and you know, for those of you who've been with us for a while here, I just wanted to quickly, you know, remind you or, you know, enlighten you if this is, you know, if you're a first time listener, what the Start Today podcast is all about. Guys, this podcast is about getting to the next level, and not just getting to the next level and having that be your final destination, having the attainment, the process, and, you know, successful achievement of getting to the next level be something that just is always happening in your life, because we know that the key to happiness in life, guys, is progress. So with the Start Today podcast, we're essentially teaching people how to take responsibility over their life and develop the mindset that is needed to become the better version of themselves. And, you know, on here, one thing that I think is very unique and special about the podcast here is we get very practical, very in-depth, very specific about the things that you can do to legitimately change your life. I mean, this isn't like things that work for some people. These are legitimately things that work for everybody, regardless of where you're at, regardless of what your current position is, your status, regardless if you're already, you know, doing very well and are already successful, or if you're just starting on your journey to success. Okay. We're going to teach you guys the importance of setting goals and, you know, not only reaching those goals, but crushing those goals. Before you even hit the goal, you're already setting a new one, because you're always raising the bar. You're always looking for opportunities to raise your standards and basically continuously push forward and just become the best person that you can be personally and professionally. Because by doing that, you are not only going to experience the best of what life has to offer, you're also going to be positioning yourself to where you are inspiring other people that see you making progress, that see you moving forward, that see you bringing these results into your life, which will in turn compel them to follow your lead and start making some changes as well. And I will tell you from personal experience, for me, the most compelling thing about success is when, you know, you have the ability to lead other people or influence other people in a positive way that essentially positions you as a catalyst for positive change in their life. There's just a feeling that comes with that, just the deep feelings of just pride and fulfillment that, you know, it's very, very special. And there's not a amount of money or a significant special like accomplishment that can even come close to that, guys. So that's what we're doing here. We're teaching you guys how to be better. We're teaching you guys how to get better. And we're basically just, you know, here to, you know, not only tell you, like, you know, what to do. We're here also of equal importance to tell you what not to do. All right. I'll be sharing no shortage of stories that outline in intimate detail my seemingly never-ending list of fuck-ups, failures, and you know, shortcomings that have essentially helped me become the person I am today. So, you know, what you want to do is not only, you know, do the right things and take the right action, but you also want to learn when possible from the mistakes that other people have made, towards you don't have to make those mistakes yourself. But guys, I want to introduce you to my co-host. He is here to my left. His name is Rick Schaff. Rick is a lot of things. He's an entrepreneur. He's a photographer. He's a videographer. He's a real estate mogul. And he's also a nutrition and anti-aging expert. So this dude is as well-rounded as they come. And he's here today. And Rick, what do you have to say to the audience?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for your time, as Chris said before, and we hope to give you some value for your time. So thanks for joining us.
We don't hope. I mean, we're
gonna promise. We're gonna deliver.
It's happening. It's happening. Yeah. And to my right is Matt Gerard. He is creative director for Nutrition Solutions, as well as the podcast. What's up, Matt?
What is up, guys?
Guys, so we're going to just kick it right off. I mean, I just kind of went on a little 7-minute spiel there, and I don't typically like to do that. I really like to just jump right in and get to business, but I do realize that the podcast is growing. There are more people that are listening to, the show. And I think it is important to kind of give them some background of who we are, what we're about. And, again, if you are, in fact, a new listener, I will tell you, we have put out some really solid content to this point. I highly encourage you to go back and, get caught up, listen to those episodes. You don't have to listen to it before you listen to this one, but all of it is encompassing. They're all interconnected in some way. And I know you guys will get a lot out of it. And guys, today is a special episode, being that this will be our first Q&A episode. You guys have been sending in a trillion questions, and I apologize. I've had so many topics that I've wanted to cover, so many things that we've wanted to talk about. And I guess the thought process in there was, during those episodes, a lot of the things that people are asking about would kind of organically be discussed anyway. But I did promise you guys I would do episodes specifically allocated to Q&A. And I love Q&A, by the way. When I go and I talk, I would prefer to do a just straight Q&A than go and just do my whole little spiel. So I love Q&A. We're going to be doing more of this. We'll figure out a way to get it a little more structured and routine. Yeah. But guys, appreciate you guys sending in the questions. You can send them into questions@starttodaypodcast.com, or if you're on Instagram, you want to drop it in the comments and hashtag starttoday. We'll be looking at that hashtag and pulling the best questions out of that to ask you, to answer for you guys here on the air. But Rick has got some questions here, and let's just get right into it, man. Fire away. What do you got for me?
So here's a question from the great town of Austin, Texas. It says, Chris, thank you for taking the time to educate and inspire. You've helped me more ways than I can describe, and I'm truly thankful. Recently, I've gotten to the point where I'm getting taken advantage of. I have a lot of animosity toward my boss, and getting nervous and having anxiety with him. So I don't know how to approach and discuss these issues that I feel are hindering our team overall as well. What advice do you have for me in this situation? Once again, thank you for everything. It's a tough one.
It's actually not. Well, It's actually very tough for that individual if he has animosity and there's a problem. It's going to be very tough to get that problem solved if your boss isn't aware that there actually is a problem. So, it sounds like, this individual is obviously upset about something, and instead of doing the legitimate only thing that is required and needed to resolve said issue and, form a meaningful resolution of the problem, it seems like they're using the, what was the words they used? The animosity.
Having animosity toward my boss and getting nervous and having an anxiety toward him.
Yeah. So basically, by not going and having a conversation, you're adding fuel to the animosity, to the anxiety, to the nerves, right? Because you basically have a problem, and instead of aggressively and immediately attacking the problem, okay, now we're talking about not going and aggressively getting in your boss's face, but going and having a conversation with him or her initially when the thing is not a problem, when it's just a situation. You have decided to basically sit back, and wrongfully assume that your boss is full on aware and recognizes whatever it is that you recognize. And this is a problem that I think a lot of people have, and they tend to believe for some reason that if they have some sort of issue with their boss or a coworker, that everybody is aware and everybody knows how
Right.
they're feeling and everybody should be. And listen,
Assuming.
yeah, and your boss, just so you know, like he or she is busy with their own shit.
Yep.
They just are. It is highly unlikely that they are sitting around spending any degree of time thinking about your feelings. So, with that said, and that's not because, like, they're bad people. It's most likely because they're just simply not aware. And what, the advice that I have is simple. Okay. You need to stop using your anxiety and stop using the nerves and all that as an excuse to not take action. Stop, thinking that A, either the situation is just going to magically resolve itself, or B, your boss is going to fix it for you. The problem with that is, your boss is not going to be able to fix a problem that they are not aware of actually is a problem.
Sure.
So it's very simple. You have to pull your boss aside and you have to explain to them how you're feeling, why you're feeling that way, and basically identify whatever it is that you feel like they could be doing better, or they could be providing you, or whatever it is that you need from your boss to not feel the way that you feel. You have to let them know that. And honestly,
And also to find out, from his perspective, is he mad?
well, so that's just the thing.
Yeah.
That and you're not going to go into the asking, hey, so are you mad about this? But a lot of times when you go and you have those conversations, you quickly realize that whatever you think is going on is not actually what's really going on. You don't have the full picture of it. You have your little small perspective because you are so caught up feeling the way you're feeling, worried about how you're feeling, that you're not taking the time to think about the big picture and why whatever is happening could be happening. And beyond that, your boss may or may not be a good boss. They may or may not be a good leader. All right. Let's just say that they fall somewhere in the middle of that. Let's just say that they're average. But even great, even great leaders they're not aware of everything that you're aware of. They're at a higher level than you, which means they're responsible for not only the performance and the progression of their team, but they're responsible for things on a higher level tasks and such. So contrary to popular belief, your boss doesn't know every little detail of what's going on amongst, within the team, within the organization. This could be a thing like with sports teams as well. Like, so if you're unwilling to have a conversation with, your boss to get this sorted out, it's pretty unreasonable for you to blame anybody but yourself. So it's very simple. You have to have that uncomfortable conversation and understand that by doing so, not only will that situation get rectified, but you have just taken advantage of a valuable opportunity to get in a very solid repetition at having an uncomfortable conversation. Because
True.
the more uncomfortable conversations that you can have and that you do have, the better your life will become. And that's the honest to God truth.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that shit, but that's the honest to God
It's
truth.
true. And if you approach it respectfully, you'll be amazed at how everything will get better. There's no way around it.
There absolutely
you have
isn't.
to have this
There's
conversation.
been numerous times where, like, I didn't have a issue with my boss, but I had an issue with someone on the team specifically. And, like, instead of practicing what I'm preaching here, I decided to, not act immediately and not take that action, not pull that person in and talk to him and, hey, like, what's going on? And, I let it build up to a point where I started to feel some of what this individual is feeling, which is, again, understand that those feelings do not come from your boss. And this is a really important thing, guys, because whether we're talking about a conversation or whatever, when you start building up stressful feelings like that and start to get anxious and start to, like, feel those, like, shitty feelings of resentment and such, with a situation like this or one similar, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's a friend, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever the case is, understand that those feelings are not coming from that other person. Although that is a convenient thing to want to believe, it's coming as a result of the psychological effect that materializes when there is a problem that you are consciously aware of, but then you are not taking any action to rectify that problem. So when you have an open problem, an open existing problem with no like plan or no solution in mind, no actions that's being taken, dude, of course that's going to bring stress. Because at any given time, that thing could fucking pop up or come crashing down. And it ultimately does. Sure. It comes, and it's going to come probably along with a bunch of other things at the same time, at the time that you least like want it to or expect it to. So you got to get in the habit. As soon as something feels off, you got to be willing to have a conversation, because not only will you get that issue resolved, I mean, because most problems are legitimately resolved on the other end of an uncomfortable conversation, you will also very quickly realize that conversation that you perceived and were so nervous about and believed to be was going to be super uncomfortable, you're going to quickly realize that it actually wasn't uncomfortable at all.
It's probably very helpful.
And long overdue. So yeah, have a conversation, sit him down, let him know what you got going on, let him know, what you feel that you could be doing better and what exactly it is that you need to do that. And, start opening up the lines of communication better between you and your boss and for everybody on the team. And again, it doesn't matter if your boss is a shitty boss. It doesn't matter. I mean, maybe your boss is fucked up, whatever. You still have to do the right thing and not say, oh, my boss is an asshole, so I'm not going to know. That's an excuse. It doesn't matter. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. And again, you can lead your boss by handling things and approaching things the right way, by showing them the right way to do it. Because again, like, there are shitty bosses out there, no doubt. Yeah. But the protocol to handling a situation like this is the exact same, whether it's a good boss or a shitty boss.
Right. Because you'll straighten out the issue, whether you're leaving or staying.
Exactly.
It'll be straightened out, right?
Yeah.
No alternatives. All right, let's move on. This comes from a listener in Los Angeles. His name is Ed. He said, I've recently gotten to a point where my friends are beginning to irritate me with their lack of drive and overall desire to move themselves forward. I get annoyed easily now when I hear them discussing the same things they have been talking about since high school, and they begin to take notice of it. And I've heard from some other friends, some of them are saying that they think I'm better than them and that I've changed. I've known these people my entire life, and it's hard for me to want to see them try and better themselves, because it's actually very easy when you stick with personal development. I don't want anyone to think I'm looking down on them, but at the same time, I don't want to put myself in situations where I'm exposed to the stuff that I feel is making me dumber. Any insight would be greatly appreciated.
That situation.
Yeah, we all go through it.
I've been there.
That is, well, first of all, congratulations. I mean, that right there, that situation, those set of circumstances, that is indicative of you being on the path. That means you're heading in the right direction, because that is, I mean, legitimately 100 times out of 100, that is an organic byproduct of personal growth. Okay. Yeah. You are no longer seeing eye to eye with these people because you no longer are standing eye to eye. You have evolved. You are higher on the ladder than them, so to speak. And, the fact is, you can be higher on the ladder without looking down on people. But you also have to understand that as you grow, if these things are irritating you, that means that the things that they're doing, the things that they're saying, the ways they're acting are not in line with your current values at the standard that you have essentially raised and, worked to get to a better place. So those feelings won't go away. No. They won't go away. If you put yourself in situations where you're around people who, I mean, the guy said that they're aggravated. He's getting aggravated with the things that his friends are saying and things they're doing. And, like, let's be honest, that the things that they're doing or saying are probably not and he said it, they're not new things. They're the things they've always been doing, which means he at one point was probably
Just like
right in the middle of that conversation, right in the middle of doing those things. And now, obviously his priorities have changed. He's evolved. Like, understand that that is normal. And the fact is, you know, people are going to say, oh, he's changed, and say it in a condescending way. I mean, I hope that people behind my back are saying I changed, but I'm hoping that it's not in a negative way, because the changes that I've made, at least from my perspective, are for the best, not only in my life, of the life of a lot of other people. And a lot of people that I once was friends with, or whatever, like, that's just normal, man. People don't like that shit. When they see people they know that are, kind of, that they started all in the same place, and they see someone just explode and moving forward, dude, it makes them feel like shit, because they realize, like, wow, so this is possible and this person's doing it, but I'm not. And it's a lot easier to say, oh, this person's changed, and they think that they're better than everyone. It's a lot easier to go that route than to look at that and recognize that, you know what, this person has changed, like, for the better. And you know what? I'm very, very proud of them. I'm grateful for the progress and the success that they're seeing. And honestly, I want to look at that. I want to look at that, and I want to be inspired by that, because this guy, like, I know this guy. I've known this guy like my whole life. I've known this guy for this number of years, and I know that, like, him and we were basically like we were in the same classes. We, did the same shit. So if he can do it, like, that's pretty cool. Like, that he's already proven it can be done. So now I can do it. Like, and again, it just comes down to a mentality issue. But I mean, look, you got some, I mean, you want me to tell you what to do straight up? Like, you need to just start phasing yourself away from those people. And it sounds like you already are. You're just putting the energy into it. You're looking at it, wondering if it's a bad thing, and it's not. It's a normal thing. It's a normal thing, and it doesn't get better.
Accept them for who they are as well.
Totally.
You can move past them.
Yeah.
Just,
you're higher on the ladder. You're not looking down on them. That's a big difference. You're not looking down on them. You're just higher in the game. And honestly, like, you just gotta not continue to put yourself in those situations. Don't put yourself in a situation where somebody's doing or saying something that's going to irritate the fuck out of you, or mess with your vibes, or make you feel like shit, or people are being negative. Like, don't do that. But again, that's where people have a hard time. It's like, well, I've known these people my entire thing. And it's like, well, yeah, but just like, you probably had like a couple outfits that at one point, you fucking just love these outfits, man, the way they fit, like, clean. And then to get to a point where, like, you look back and they're like, damn, I actually wore that fucking thing. I mean, I honestly believe that old friends and old clothes, metaphorically speaking, have a lot of similarities in that. I mean, you outgrow both of them. And again, it's not a matter of looking down, but I mean, look, like, if people are saying, oh, he thinks that I'm better, like, you probably are. I mean, you probably are better than those people. Like, I mean, that's just, the fact that they're saying it, that means they're thinking it.
But don't think it.
No, you don't think it, but recognize it.
Sure.
Recognize it as validation that you are on the right track, because you're not supposed to stay the same. You're not supposed to, like, do the same shit you did in fucking high school or in your early 20s. You're supposed to develop. You're supposed to grow. So, like, understand that the best chance that you have with, you probably care about these people, and, you would prefer for them to rise up to your level. You prefer for them to support you. I get that. Doesn't happen more often than it does. But I would just say, just continue doing what you're doing. Remove yourself from those situations where, you have to be exposed or hear that shit. Keep kicking ass, keep working hard, keep doing the personal development, and hopefully, you can reconnect with those people. Hopefully they take note of what you're doing and ultimately want to make some changes on their own. But if not, that's okay too, because ultimately you will connect with, you will attract like-minded people that are on your level.
That's what you need. You got to feed that part of you, and the friends that, you've had for a while that aren't going to change. Just like I said, accept them for what they are, and, be kind of respectful to them. And
and like, winning players, like, you're not going to attract like other winners, like more successful, driven, like-minded people into your life if you are hanging out with losers. I mean, for lack of a better term, or even like, not even losers, like just people who are just like dormant, people who are just not driven, people who just don't have the desire to move forward. Like that just doesn't happen. You don't see that.
Yeah, and also, I mean, look, it's not your job to bring your friends up either. Like sometimes the
As
best
much
thing,
as you would love to,
yeah,
and I get that. That's an
yeah,
important thing. You want to because you
Yeah.
care about them.
yeah,
And because you know, like you found the formula, right? You found like, holy shit, like this guy's talking about the personal development. It's like shit, that's all I have to do is do the personal development and my life gets better. So you want to put your fucking friends onto something that's so easy that'll make their life better. Yet they're not wanting to do it, but you just think that you can break down that barrier. And unfortunately, it doesn't fucking work like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can put it out there and hope,
yeah,
Yeah.
but you can't. What's this?
Yeah, don't do what I
Can't lead a
do.
horse to water. You can't make.
Don't do what I do. I mean, I have gotten myself in too many occasions, like I've got myself too wrapped up personally in people like around me, like wanting to see them get to that next. I'm wanting to like push and push, but then it gets to a point where, you know, when you're dragging, it's okay to push. You have to know that, you know, when you get to a point where you're dragging, that they just don't want it. They might not want it. And that's okay. That doesn't make them, I think the problem is in situations like this, sometimes you hear that people say they want it, right? They say they want these things. Oh, that's awesome. You done that. I'd like to. So like, you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I can. So, but then when they get a taste of what it entails,
When you give them the book list,
they don't like that shit. They don't like that change,
Yeah.
that work. They don't like to have to give up,
Yeah.
you know, their favorite, you know, fucking TV shows or whatever the fuck, however many hours of video games and TV and like going out and partying. They don't like that shit. They want the upside
cliff
without the
notes.
sacrifice.
Yeah. it's true.
But yeah, don't worry about it, man. Press on, keep doing what you're doing, stay on the path of personal development, and honestly, filter these people out, and you're going to actually start noticing your circumstances and the evolution, the progress that you're seeing will actually speed up. So that's a good thing. Let's focus on that.
All right. Moving on now to Lowell, Massachusetts. We have Stephanie. It says, "Hi, Chris. Big fan of you and the podcast. Thank you for everything you guys do. I'm 22 and have been consistent with personal development for a year and have made some really significant changes. I'm loving the changes I'm seeing and want to find a way to go faster if that makes sense. My end goal is to start a social media marketing company, but I realize I have a lot to learn to get to that point. Where would I even know where to start with that? What advice do you have for me at this stage? Thank you in advance."
Stephanie?
Yeah.
Stephanie, that's an awesome question. Thank you for asking that. And honestly, like, first of all, congratulations on the progress that you've made and the things that are happening in your life. I know that, you know, I know when you get that taste and you get the validation at the personal development, that all the things they say in the books, like when you do it, it works. It's like, fuck, what a concept. And then you get a taste of it and you want more. I think a thing that's very underrated in today's like society, especially for a young person that knows what they want to do ultimately, but is also self-aware enough to understand they're nowhere near where they need to be to actually like make that happen currently. You got to get around people who are actually like doing what it is you want to do or building successful companies. Get around people that are driven, that are actually making shit happen, that you know that like are going to be in a better place in a year from now, 5 years than where they are now. And there's a lot of them out there. Social media makes these people very available. So if you can figure out a way to bring value to an organization that has that type of mentality like instilled within their team and within their culture, and that's growing, and that has things going on in their company that you can basically like learn from and gain that experience, that is what the fuck you need to do.
Yeah,
and
like
the
an
problem
intern or anything.
an intern or whatever position that you can get
Yeah.
to where you can get around people that are winning, people that are kicking ass, and just learn about like the ecosystem of the company's culture, learn about just the different, I mean, again, like it comes down to, most of this stuff comes down to mindset, right? All the things that, you know, that I've done here, like with this company that have made the company special, the things that I've decided to implement. It's like, okay, we're going to do this now. We're going to like these little things that are crazy that nobody else like. It's, I didn't like read this thing and it said, do this. I didn't see, most of it just comes down to mindset and me having a certain standard and a certain belief on, you know, how things should be done to successfully accomplish the mission that we're on. And it just kind of like organically starts to happen. So when the people you surround yourself with essentially determine the way you think and the way you act and dictate your mindset.
Yeah.
So if you can get involved with an organization that is geared around, like growth and, high standards and, attention to detail, all the things that we've talked about that are important as it pertains to success, that's where you need to be. And it doesn't matter if you're working in the mailroom. It doesn't matter if you're doing something in social media. She mentioned she wants to do something in social media. Ultimately, you don't need to be doing the things that she needs to learn that are going to help her with her business down the road literally have nothing to do with social media. You don't need to be into someone's business. All that stuff you can learn your own, but learning how to have process set up and standards and how to, work with other people and how to lead, all that stuff. The best way to, learn that shit is to be, practical application, real time. So I think that's a thing that's very, very undervalued and overlooked for people, like especially younger people who want to be successful and want to do something on a higher level and be better than what they currently are, but just don't know the path. Sure. Dude, you get involved with an organization that is going places. Mm-hmm. Learn what you can, absorb what you can, and then those answers to those questions that you have, the questions that you can't answer, to those questions that you have, what do I want to do? Where do I want to be in 5 years? The way that those answers just start to become clear in your mind is when you start thinking on a higher level. And the only way to think on a higher level is to be around individuals who think on a higher level.
Right. So get the basics under you. Mm-hmm. And then at some point you would, think about the things you want to do and create a concept.
You don't even have to, the thing is, you don't even have to really, it's like, okay, I'm around here, I work here 6 months, now I'm going to go, okay, it's a weekend, I'm going to go sit on the beach and think about, you will be in an atmosphere where, there's just things happening to where you will just have ideas just start appearing in your mind, and you'll start thinking a certain way based off of what you observe around you, but based off what you observe within, that company, that'll just allow you to think on a different level, a different platform, sure, shall we call it, that these things will just become, so it won't be like her, sending in messages like this to people like myself or whoever asking, you get to a point where you learn to think differently. Sure. Whereas you may not know exactly what to do, but you have enough confidence, common sense, and experience to take some sort of action that is at least kind of in the neighborhood. And if that's not the right thing, you check that one off the list and you go to the next thing. It's about taking action, massive, relentless, aggressive action, despite not being fully certain of what to do or how to do it. And again, it all comes down to thinking differently, which is, kind of our thesis here.
Agreed. All right. So here we got another question.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, listening to your show has been life-changing.
Oh, hold on. Is that the tone of the text? You changed your voice there. Did you notice that?
No. All right. Hey guys, listening to your show has been life-changing for me in so many ways. Thank you. One thing it's made me to take note of in myself is that I'm probably much more passive, shy, reserved, and to be completely truthful here, softer than I should be to go where I want to go in my life and become who I want to become. I'm a female, and I've always used that as an excuse to not do certain things that I see now is impacting my growth as a person. What are some things I can start doing to build my mental toughness and become more comfortable outside of my comfort zone?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I appreciate that person for reaching out and asking that. I mean, again, as you do personal development, as you watch this podcast, and do the things that you need to do, you're gonna start being aware of things that have been hindering you and that you haven't even recognized. So the fact that she's even identifying the fact that she's a little too passive, and she said in there, I'm a little soft and I want to fix it. So what can I do to start improving on my mental toughness? I mean, there's a lot of things, and we've talked about a lot of the things on the show. We'll continue to, but basic things from getting up early in the morning, earlier than you want to, making sure you make your bed immediately, going and doing a hard workout, right? after the workout, take a freezing cold shower and do the warm shower, clean yourself, whatever, but then like as cold as it will go, like 60 seconds. Little things like that, believe it or not, actually condition your physiology to feel those stressful feelings and discomfort, to where it makes the discomfort and the stress that we'll encounter in the real world that much easier to navigate through. And it starts with little things like that.
Yeah, because it also builds the confidence for you to take on those things that are uncomfortable.
Exactly. You're proving to yourself that you can do it. You're taking the action. You realize, you know what? I don't want to get up in the morning, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's what mental toughness is. Yeah. Mental toughness is acting in spite of your feelings, but doing so on a consistent basis. You can't have mental toughness is not, you know, I was mentally tough this Tuesday because I woke up no, like mental toughness is doing the things that you don't want to do as if you love doing them consistently. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's what she needs to do. She needs to start putting herself voluntarily in situations that make her uncomfortable. And you can do that very easily by getting up earlier than you want to get up, going and doing a very hard workout in the morning. I mean, like that right there is legitimately something that if you're not doing that and you're looking for a way to step things up, and you've recognized that maybe you don't have as much discipline or you don't have as much dedication, like, dude, that's it right there. Get up earlier than like you normally would and go work out. I mean, dude, not only is it that, mental toughness building scenario there, an opportunity to do that, but dude, you're also like priming your day for a optimal outcome. But besides that, other things, we talked about having an uncomfortable conversation earlier. Have as many of those conversations as possible. She says she's a female and people, so it sounds like to me that, she's a female in some sort of leadership position, and she probably, is intimidated by, some of the guys and whatever. Like the thing is, like a lot of that is in our minds. I've seen that. I mean, I've seen some badass alpha females that I'm like, shit, I got one that works here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I've seen others that have come into contact with. I'm like, man, I'd love to have that person. And I don't look at like a female as like, oh, it's a female, so I'll be like, I mean, it depends. I mean, I've seen just as many, if not more weak males than females. So, she put it out there that she's been using it as an excuse. Like, that's great that you've been able to identify.
The fact that she's aware,
that's a big deal.
Is huge.
Yeah. Right? Like literally we're 50% there.
She's already having that uncomfortable conversation with herself, which is
totally
awesome.
One thing I think, look, if like you're calling yourself soft, you're calling yourself passive, if you could change that narrative, right, and you write down, like, one of the things I did was I used to hit the snooze button a lot, right? So I wrote in my goals, and what standard I thought of myself was someone who doesn't hit the snooze button. I wrote down, I do not hit the snooze button. I'm on time everywhere I go. Yeah. I'm prompt. I'm someone people can count on, right? I hold myself to that standard, and then, if you're not going to be congruent with that, then something feels off.
Yeah.
So, if you call yourself passive, you call yourself soft, change that narrative. Say, hey, I'm hard.
Good point too,
I'm comfortable having uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah. I agree with that. But she did do the right thing by initially saying it and putting it out there, because you can't fix a problem if you don't acknowledge the problem.
So she's on her way.
She for sure is. But again, it's like, it's consistency, it's repetition, and understand, like, when she hears this and, she's like, oh, wow, they answered my question. She's going to start doing some of these things and she's going to feel good about it for a little while. But understand that just doing these things that I mentioned isn't enough. It's doing the things that you need to do to lead, doing the things that you need to do to establish a command presence. Look, you're going to have to do it bad before you do it good. Yeah. So you could take 1,000 cold showers. You could get up at 2:30 in the morning and go run a fucking marathon before work. But until you get the repetitions in to doing things that, essentially you will need the mental toughness to be successful at, like, you have to understand that, the showers, the workouts, getting up early, like that stuff just basically puts you in a position that you're willing to do those things. Yeah. Then you have to, just like everything else that you've learned to do that you've never done before or never done well, it takes repetitions. But as much experience as you can get in, or having conversations, getting up and speaking in front of a group of people, not in a reactive setting where like something gets fucked up and then you can do that like all the time. Do that all the time. any opportunity that you can literally find to step in front of a group of people and talk, dude, that is massively valuable because you're working on an extremely valuable skill set, which is public speaking, but also like you're doing something that's extremely uncomfortable for most people. And that, I mean, the only way to get over anything that you're afraid of or that you have a little like nerves toward is by doing it.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the less that you feel like that.
Yeah, man. Go through it scared. I always say that.
Exactly.
That's the way to do it. All right, good.
What's next? You got anything left?
Yeah, we got Josh from Cleveland. He
Mm-hmm.
says, one thing I've noticed from following over the years is you're always in great shape and train like a beast despite having so many things going on. I just started a new job that requires me to work longer hours. I found myself slacking on my workouts and diet now that I'm not as consistent in the gym. I feel like I've been too tired to train, and after work end up going home and going straight to the couch. Not only am I not working out, once that happens, my lazy ass ends up ordering takeout because I'm too tired to get up and cook. My question is, how do you stay so disciplined and consistent with the gym and the diet despite being as busy as you are? Any tips? Or do I need to just suck it up and stop being a little bitch? Keep rocking, man. Josh?
Well, Josh, thank you for the question. Appreciate the honesty. You know, that what you're going through right now is normal, right? He's got a new job.
Yeah.
He's, you know, he may or may not be working more hours. He might be working the fucking less hours, but it's a new thing and he's having to learn a lot more. So he's deploying more energy. So he feels more tired. It's not the number of hours that people put in that determine whether they're tired or like, you know, have a lot of energy. It's the amount of energy that they're deploying in the time that they're there. So anytime you're doing anything new, like there's a lot more effort required than if, you know, you do something and you've been doing something well for a long time and you're experiencing that thing. So, you know, the fact is this, and again, like, in order to, we talked about at the beginning of this, like what the Start Today podcast was about and what we represent here, and you know how it's about raising your standards and continuously looking to reach the next level. What you need to understand, guys, is like if you want to live like the type of life that we're talking about, which obviously you do, because you're tuning in, you're listening to this content, you're taking action, but you have to understand that living the life that, you know, we're striving to live here, like it's not easy. People want to think that, like, you know, if they listen to enough podcasts or if they, you know, watch enough like little short motivational videos on Instagram that they're just going to be in a position. Like it doesn't work like that. Like it is hard as fuck. And that's the thing that you need to embrace and like literally like come to terms with. And before you do anything, like realize that not only is it hard as fuck, but it's going to take a long time, a lot longer than you probably anticipate. So this is a perfect example. Okay. This dude says he's got a new job. He's working more hours. So what it sounds like to me is that he just recently kind of came up in the world, right? Moved on to a different opportunity, hopefully a better opportunity. It sounds like it. Yeah. So he's working more hours because he's having to learn the nature of his new job. But just understand that if, you know, you essentially reach a new level with your professional career and then you regress with your fitness, the thing that arguably legitimately improves every other area of your life, you actually haven't evolved. You're actually in the same fucking place. You may be making more money. You may be, you know, like taking home more money per week, but from a quality of life standpoint, you haven't moved forward. And the fact is that money that, you know, that money that you're making now, it's like, if you're not taking the time to eat the right things, if you're not taking the time to train and experiencing all those positive benefits that come from what happens when one eats good and trains hard, you are not going to be able to reach the next level anywhere remotely close to as fast or as efficiently as if you were. So what you have to understand is every new level requires a new level of you, essentially. what got you here will not get you there. So you have to just understand and accept that although, you have this new position and this new opportunity, and this is essentially a come up for you, you still have prior responsibilities and obligations that, really were probably somewhat responsible for helping you even be in a position to get this new opportunity to begin with. So if you think that by stopping something that you were doing that has brought positive results and helped you accrue success in your life, if you think stopping that now that you've actually, dude, that's complacency.
It's almost, you almost have to push harder,
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you called me Sunday.
Yep.
You were like, can we do the podcast tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, what are you doing? I was like, I'm getting ready to train. You're like, oh yeah, you're going out on Sunday. I love it, to kill it. What you don't know is I had just gotten back from Cuba and I had salmonella poisoning just before that.
Damn.
And I was pretty beat up, but I still put the work in, right? Because that's what you do. I've seen you suffering from all kinds of health issues that you weren't even unaware of at one point. Lots of stress on the job, things like just tumultuous. But I saw you do a fitness show, get ready for a fitness show and compete. So we're a lot more resilient than we get ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
You just have to really try.
You have to test those limitations.
You really
and
do.
see.
You got to push yourself.
Yeah. And then the thing is, like, it's a standard. You ask how I do it. And I mean, I do it because this is a standard that I've set this standard for myself. I take my fitness, my physical fitness and my mental fitness very, very, very seriously. And it's like, there's a few different things that, I use like mentally to get myself there. Like, what type of example would I be setting for my team here? What type of example would I be setting for our clients and the people that give us the opportunity to lead them, to help them change their life, to get, what type of example would I be setting for them if I didn't practice what I preach at the absolute highest standard? I don't need them to be at my level. I mean, if I need them, I want them to follow my lead. I want them to have very, very big shoes to fill. I want them to see and recognize how passionate I am about what I do and what we do here. And the fact that we're not, just out here trying to just sell people and all this and just make money, whatever. I mean, every business is in business to make money. But again, like in the hierarchy of priorities for me, I mean, money is probably like 4 or 5. Yeah. I mean, I understand that in my position, I have the responsibility to lead from the front and lead by example and basically practice what I preach. And, with our company, with the nature of what we do, that's a responsibility that, I take pretty seriously. And, just beyond that, like there's just, it's just perspective, man. I just think of like kids. I think there's kids like a couple miles from here, terminally ill, right? In the children's ward, burn victims, people that have been there's just kids that, have been predisposed to some sort of, illness due to genetics, whatever the case, that those kids will never have the opportunity to work out. Some of them will never experience life outside of a hospital bed. Yeah. So on the days that I really don't feel like it, and I'm like making up every possible, and dude, I do that. Believe it or not, that happens to me. I do it. I go there, I'm like, look, I'm already in good shape. I'm in great shape. And I've worked out, Technically, my body could probably benefit. And I was like, no, that's not, no. Yeah. Because if I had planned on taking the day off, that's one thing. But if I'm just feeling whatever type of way, and then I start coming up with these little stories, regardless of how accurate they may in fact be, I realize that that's just an excuse, and I have to remind myself of these things. It's true. So you gotta go anyway. You gotta step up, and the fact that you're recognize the problem, recognize the pattern. You're after work, you're tired, you're drained, you're going home, you're laying on the couch, you're ordering takeout food, exacerbating the problem. So not only are you not working out, you're eating like shit. Okay, not a winning strategy. Yeah. Get up early and go work out before work. Okay,
that's what I would do.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it
you go straight
like.
After work. I mean, like for me, like if I go home right after work and I sit on the couch, It's like, cement, right? Or quicksand. You got to stay in motion, an object in motion will stay
I would
in motion.
recommend getting. I mean,
Get up early.
I think what
Uh-huh.
he probably goes home
He's probably
with the
just-
intention of, I'm just gonna sit on the couch
Yeah,
for
5,
20
10
minutes,
minutes,
and
yeah.
then
So, Josh, most people are better off if they get up early. That wasn't always the case with me. I used to train. I used to work long days and train in a garage in the middle of the friggin' night. But most people are better off in the morning. I think we can all agree on that.
business professionals are.
Yeah.
But again, like it depends. Like in this company, the majority of people that work here, I know for a fact, do not work out in the morning unless we're doing like an organized PT. But I have firsthand knowledge that it doesn't matter how long of a fucking day, these guys are going to the gym and they're crushing it. Because I follow them on social media, I see it, and I just know that that's their standard. It's not like, oh, I'm tired. Like, yeah, they are tired, but they go. Most people, most people aren't at that level of discipline or mindset. So like, until you get there, give yourself the tactical advantage. If you're noticing a pattern of you coming home and laying on the couch thinking that's going to somehow like do the opposite of what it's been doing, and you're going to actually feel recharged and revitalized, ready to crush a workout, like, dude, that's not what's going to happen. Okay. Like, you've identified a problem. Let's not, like with the insanity theory, what Einstein defined as insanity, don't keep pushing the fucking red button, keep getting shocked every time and think that eventually you're going to push it and like a little compartment's going to open up and hand you a stack of cash. Like, identify the pattern, understand that you have a responsibility to be fit. You have a responsibility to eat good. You have a responsibility to pay it forward to the universe. The universe has brought this opportunity into your life, has rewarded you for the work that you've been putting in. And by not staying consistent with the things that have allowed you to get to where you're at and start experiencing the things that you're experiencing currently, I mean, you're disrespecting the universe, and you're essentially doing what most people do. And again, here at the Start Today podcast, we're not concerned with what most people do, okay? We understand that most people will remain most people for a very specific reason. One of those reasons being when things start going well, they start to get a little taste of success, they hit a result, they hit a goal. It's like they stop doing all of this shit. That it's fucking insane. I mean, dude, so many, like, I see it so much. It makes me like, I mean, I guess maybe not recently, but I mean, maybe I'm so sensitive to this because I have done that on so many times, and it's literally bit me in the ass, where I'm just now so aware of it that I set my actions up in such a way where, like, I really can't get complacent. And I'm not saying that I don't in certain areas. When you have a company and a team, there are some things that you can, and everything is your fault, everything is your responsibility. There are some things that get complacent without you really being aware, like in real time. But ultimately, you should have known, because there's just no excuse for it. But as far as my personal goals, the things that I specifically do, if I want to get to the next level, I realize that I'm going to have to do more. I have to perform at a higher level. I have to be faster. I have to, bring more value. I have to put out more content. I have to do, more media appearances. Tomorrow morning, we're flying out to LA for 2 days and coming right back. So I have a couple PR things for the podcast. But I still have to come back here and run this company.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, in order to become more, you have to do more. And yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be overwhelming, but you figure it out. You adjust. Eventually it normalizes. But the worst thing that you can do in that or any other situation is to stop doing the things that have helped you get to where you're at, because that will never fucking work. The couch, like that's not doing you any favors, brother. And not only
Or the takeout food.
the takeout food, not only is it probably like hurting his gut and his self-esteem, his level of energy and productivity and all that, but he's probably spending a shit ton of money. Maybe he got a raise. Maybe that raise isn't really a raise now, because he's spending so much money, like eating out, and he's basically spending money on food that's making him fatter, slower, less productive, like more lethargic and broker. So I guess think of it like that. I mean, any of those things will work. Whatever it's going to take to get there, just use it and fix it.
And the good news is, if you put in 2 weeks, it'll get easier.
Dude, 100%.
And that investment will pay off.
Oh yeah.
and it'll all start to work in your favor. But you got to get through those tough times.
But we know that day one, legitimately, when he does it, when all he has to do, it's 13 minutes of discomfort, literally. When you get up and then your body is like trying to wake up and all that. Once you get past that, once you get in the gym, by set 2, you're fucking like, God, man, I'm so fucking happy. I mean, like, that's all it is. So understand, like, can you deal with 13 minutes of being tired? And the answer is yes, you fucking can. You do that every day anyway. Go to bed earlier. Understand that you'll have more energy. You'll be more productive in the fucking workplace. You will feel less drained at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, predicated simply off of the fact that you are actively in the gym, you are pushing your body, and you're experiencing all the effects, profound effects that happen in the brain as a direct result.
Yeah. Well, let us know how all these things work out.
Yeah.
All these questions.
Yeah, for sure, guys. If your question got answered here, I would love to, hear the feedback once you take the action. And, we definitely want to know if this worked out and the result, and it will work out. It's not even our if. We want to know how it worked out, the differences, the changes that you've experienced, and just keep us updated. And guys, we're on a journey here together, right? Which means that, like, we're always going to be like evolving and growing and doing new things. So, like, we want to know that not only the things that you learned here, the things that you appreciate us putting out, but we want to hear from you guys the actions that you've taken and the results that you've seen. I mean, like, that literally, to me, that's like oxygen to me. Like, it just fuels my soul. Sure. And guys, when you take the time to leave the reviews, and we have some amazing ones up there right now, like people that get it, they understand that because of the value that they've received from our podcast, they have a responsibility to share, like, with us, with the outside world, the positive, profound impact that they have seen in their life. And guys, that, just understand, those of you who have taken the time to do that, like, it really means a lot. I mean, everybody who's taken the time to leave a review, that's great. You could leave the star review, and then obviously it gives you the chance to write like actual words if you'd like. Those of you who have left the ones, and just understand, like, we're not just doing this, encouraging you guys to leave the reviews because it helps us rank, although it does, and we need that because we're trying to grow, we're trying to touch more people, we're trying to impact more people, we're trying to help more people. But when you put it out there, like, just as much as you guys probably think I hear it all the time, which it doesn't matter if I do or do not, it still feels equally amazing every single time that I hear from someone that, something that, we talked about on here, or something like a post I did, or something they saw me talk, like, knowing that I was able to positively impact someone and help them create. And I'm telling you, like, it's legitimately the best fucking feeling. And I don't ever want to, like, I will never get tired of that. It fuels my soul. That people ask me, like, oh, how do you stay so motivated? It's that. That's knowing the impact that, I essentially have the ability to make on people. Like, that's not a responsibility I take lightly. And, knowing that it's actually, not only knowing that it's working, but just hearing the people, and just like, it's a feeling that I can't really describe. And I can only just say, guys, thank you for taking the time to leave the reviews. Please keep them coming. Please, share with us the impact, the results, that not just the things that you've learned, any results that, it's helped you achieve, any shifts in perspective, just any of that stuff. Like, just understand, like, we take the time and we look at that stuff, and, like, we'll be like, sending screenshots to each other of like messages that, any of us got, because we all want to see that stuff. We all want to hear from you guys. We all want to celebrate your success alongside with you. So yeah, I mean, the reviews are important, guys. Keep them coming on iTunes. It's very, very simple to leave a review. If you've never done that before, like, understand that it is very, very simple and can be done in like 20 seconds. If you actually, like, commit, you hit the podcast app, scroll down a bit, hit the star review, write the thing. It is so quick. It is so convenient. But it is also very, very important to us, and, important to me on a very, very personal level. As like I said, it feeds my soul. So guys, I would appreciate for you guys to keep that coming. And also, tell a friend about us. All right. Tag people in my Instagram post. If I put out something that, gives you value, that makes you like feel some type of way, if there's something that, you believe that, someone else could benefit, like, please understand that when you drop me a comment, you like, my photos and videos, like that, believe it or not, helps. It helps us. It helps me grow my personal brand. It helps us spread the message of the Start Today podcast and what we're doing here. And it just gives us the opportunity to impact more people. And that is why we're doing this. Okay. We're not paid for this. Okay. Like, this costs me money to actually do. This is about making a difference in the world and playing my part to give back, and help as many people as I can. And I would appreciate you guys helping us out by keeping those things in mind, and just understand that your support, whether it be leaving a review, leaving a comment on Instagram, liking a photo and video, that is a way for you guys to show your support. So
Awesome.
yeah, you guys got anything?
That's it, man.
Yeah, no.
Cool. No
Keep
more
'em
questions, right?
No, we're good.
All right. Well, Matt, Rick, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Guys, hope you enjoyed the inaugural Q&A episode of the podcast. We'll be doing no shortage of a Q&A podcast. I love Q&A.
Yeah, I like 'em too.
I like it a lot. And yeah, guys, we'll figure out a way to stay a little more consistent with the Q&A, and also make sure we keep the episodes coming to you guys the way we have, and cover the topics that we feel will make the most impact. But guys, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Hopefully everyone here got something out of today's episode. I feel like, you picked those questions because that's something that's probably very relatable to everyone. So regardless of where you're at in the situation, understand that these things, it's the action steps, the mentality, it's all similar, man, if you want to win in life, business and in life. So guys, I know you took something out of this today. Go action it. All right. Go take some sort of action, take immediate action, because when you learn something, there's a very short window, let's call it 24 hours, where you have the ability to drive that home and instill that as a new trait, a new belief system, a new value that you now have ingrained in your DNA. Or if you don't take action on it, if you don't deploy some sort of action that's consistent with the new thing that you've learned, it's probably going to get lost in the shuffle. All those other good ideas and all those other things that you were once so excited about, but failed to take action.
That's hitting the snooze button.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't hit the snooze button. Take action, immediate action. Look for opportunities to deploy some of the things that we said today, and just have that be a general rule of thumb. Anything new that you learn that you want to make a mainstay in your life, that is important to you, that's important to your prosperity, personally, professionally, learn to take immediate action on it, because that is the only way that true positive lasting change will begin to materialize. But yeah, that's all I got. Guys, have an awesome rest of the week, and we will check in with you again soon.